let me ask you something and be honest with yourself for a second. How many times have you been around a guy and thought, wait, what is he doing? Is he just being nice, or is there something more behind the way he's looking at me? We've all been there, right? You're sitting across from him at dinner, or maybe it's a casual hangout with friends, and suddenly there's this energy. You feel his eyes on you a little longer than normal. His smile lingers in a way that feels different, and you can't help but think, hold on, does he just like me? Or is he thinking about something a lot more intimate? Now, here's the truth. Men are terrible at hiding what they really want. They might think they're subtle, but their bodies give them away every single time. The way they look at you, the way they adjust their clothes, the way their voice suddenly changes when they're speaking just to you. These little micro signals are like flashing neon signs that scream, I want you. And here's the best part. Once you know how to recognize these signals, you gain the power. You'll no longer sit there wondering, is he into me? Instead, you'll know exactly when his interest has crossed that line from liking you as a person to wanting you in a way that's very physical. Imagine the confidence that gives you. Picture yourself in that moment you're talking, he's laughing, and suddenly you notice 2, 3, maybe even 4 of these little tells happening right in front of you. That's not just coincidence. That's his desire spilling out, even if he doesn't say it out loud. And let me tell you something else, most men don't even realize they're doing it. That's what makes it so powerful. These aren't lines he's rehearsed or games he's playing. These are raw, natural instincts his body can't hide. So today, I'm going to reveal the 5 biggest signs that a man is not just attracted to you, but he's secretly imagining what it would be like to be with you in the most intimate way possible. And ladies, once you spot these signs, trust me, you'll never look at men the same way again. Let's start with the very first and probably the most powerful signal, the eye lock that lasts too long. Now, ladies, eye contact is everything. It's one of the oldest, rawest forms of human connection. Before words, before texting, before flirty Instagram likes, there were eyes. And when a man wants you, his eyes give him away every single time. Here's the difference. Normal eye contact is polite. It's short. It's a glance, a look away, maybe back again. But when a man is sexually attracted to you, his eyes behave differently. He doesn't just look at you. He lingers. It's not a quick, oh, hey, how are you? Look, it's that deep, magnetic stare that feels almost physical. You feel it in your stomach, don't you? That little jolt, that flutter. And here's the kicker, he may not even realize he's doing it. When a man's desire kicks in, his pupils dilate. His gaze softens yet somehow sharpens at the same time. It's like his eyes are saying, I want more. Think about it. Have you ever been across the table from a guy and suddenly realized he hasn't looked away for a solid 3, 4, even 5 seconds? And instead of it feeling awkward, it feels charged. That's not friendship. That's attraction at its most primal level. Now, let's be clear. Men don't stare like this at everyone. He's not giving that same look to his boss or his buddy at the gym. This eye contact is reserved, exclusive. It's his body's way of saying, you are different, you're the one I want. Here's where it gets even juicier. It's not just about how long he looks, but where his eyes wander. Does he glance at your lips while you're talking? That's a huge giveaway. A man who looks at your mouth isn't just admiring your lipstick, he's imagining what it feels like to kiss you. If his eyes drift down your body and then quickly snap back up, that's another clue. He's trying to be polite, but his attraction is leaking through. And you know what? You'll feel it. You'll feel that moment when his eyes are no longer just seeing you, they're consuming you. You'll feel your body respond, your breath quicken, maybe even that slight nervous giggle, because suddenly the air between you is thick with tension. Here's a secret women often doubt themselves in this moment. You might think, am I imagining this? Maybe he's just friendly. No, attraction has a different weight to it. When he looks at you that way, you'll know. It's not casual, it's loaded. And let's be honest, men aren't subtle creatures. If his eyes keep finding you in a crowded room, if every time you look up, he's already watching you, that's not an accident, that's obsession in disguise. His brain is screaming, don't look, don't look, don't look. And yet there he is, locked on you again. Now, how should you respond to this? That's where you get to play with the power dynamic. If you want to encourage him, meet his gaze and hold it for just a second longer than usual, then break it with a smile. That tiny move will drive him absolutely crazy because it signals, I see you. I feel this too, but if you're not interested, simple cut the eye contact short, glance away, and give no fuel to the fire. Men rely on that feedback. Without it, the flame dies quickly. So ladies, the next time you catch a man holding your gaze just a little too long, don't ignore it. That's not just a look, that's a confession. His eyes are telling you the one thing his mouth might be too scared to say. I want you. Let's talk about the second sign, the subconscious touch. Now, this one is fascinating because men don't even realize they're doing it. When a guy is turned on by you, his body literally betrays him. His hands start speaking the truth before his words ever catch up. Think about it. You're sitting across from him, chatting, and suddenly he's adjusting his shirt, fixing his hair, tugging at his collar, or rubbing the back of his neck. You might think, oh, he's just fidgeting. But no, this is his body's primal way of saying, I want to look good for you. I want to impress you. I want you to notice me. And here's where it gets juicier. Men will also find excuses, tiny, sneaky excuses to touch you. Maybe it's brushing a bit of lint off your shoulder. Maybe it's a playful push when you tease him. Maybe it's accidentally bumping your knee under the table. On the surface, it looks harmless, casual, almost nothing at all. But underneath, that's his attraction trying to get physically closer. Here's a little secret attraction lives in the fingertips. When a man desires you, his hands itch to close the gap. He wants to bridge that invisible space between you, even if it's just for a fraction of a second. Watch closely, because this touch doesn't have to be directly on you. Sometimes it's proximity. If he places his hand on the table closer to yours, if his arm rests on the back of your chair, if his leg just happens to brush against yours and stay there a little longer than it should, he's sending a message. And let's be honest, you can feel the difference between accidental and intentional. If his touch lingers, if he doesn't pull away right away, that's not by mistake. That's deliberate. That's his body saying, I want connection, I want contact, I want you. Now here's where women often second guess themselves. You might say, well, maybe he's just a touchy person. Okay, sure, some men are naturally more physical. But let me ask you this, is he touching everyone the way he touches you? Is he brushing his friend's arm in the same slow, lingering way? Probably not. His subconscious touch is selective. He reserves it for the woman he wants. Another thing to notice is how he responds when you touch him. If you playfully tap his arm or place your hand on his shoulder, does he light up? Does he lean into it? Does he use it as an excuse to touch you back? That's your confirmation right there. Men don't just tolerate touch from the women they're attracted to, they crave it. Now, let's flip this into your power. When you recognize this subconscious touch, you suddenly gain control of the moment. If you're into him, you can reciprocate lightly. Touch his arm when you laugh. Let your hand graze his as you pass something to him. That tiny encouragement is like pouring gasoline on the fire. He will feel it, and it will only increase his desire. But if you're not interested, you shut it down. You move away, you give no energy back. And trust me, he'll pick up on it fast. Men are always great at reading minds, but they are very good at sensing when their touch isn't welcome. So ladies, remember this, a man's subconscious touch is his truth. His words might be charming, his jokes might be clever, but his hands reveal his rawest intentions. If he's finding excuses to touch himself around you, or especially to touch you, it's because his attraction has already crossed into the physical. And once you notice it, you'll never mistake it again. Let's move on to one of the sexiest, most subtle signs of all, the voice drop. Have you ever noticed how a man's voice suddenly changes when he's talking to you? Maybe around other people, he's upbeat, casual, even goofy. But when the conversation shifts and it's just the two of you, suddenly his tone drops lower, slower, smoother, almost like velvet. That right there is no accident. That's biology. When men are attracted, their testosterone levels spike, and it literally deepens their voice. They don't plan it. They don't think, let me sound sexy right now. No, their body just betrays them. It's instinct. And it's one of the clearest signs he's not just chatting with you. He's trying to pull you in. Think about it. A man's normal tone might sound friendly. That deeper register, that's primal. That's him trying to trigger your attraction on a subconscious level. Because as women, you're wired to notice it. Studies have shown women find lower, slower voices more attractive because they signal confidence, strength, and yes, desire. Let me paint the picture. You're at a party, he's joking around with his friends, his voice is louder, higher, playful. But then he turns to you, leans a little closer, and suddenly, boom, the pitch changes. So how's your night going? But it doesn't sound like a casual question. It sounds like he's letting you into a secret. That little drop in his tone is him saying, without words, I want you to feel me differently than everyone else. And here's the fun part, the voice drop often comes with other signals. He might slow down his words, pause between sentences, almost forcing you to hang on to what he's saying. He might laugh a little softer with that husky undertone, because he's not just trying to be funny, he's trying to seduce you with sound. Have you ever had a guy say your name in that deeper tone? You feel it instantly, don't you? Your body reacts before your mind does, because when a man says your name in that way, it's not just a name anymore, it's a caress. It's like he's wrapping you in intimacy without even touching you. And here's something most women don't realize: men use this voice shift as a way of testing the waters. If you respond, if you lean in, if your smile softens, he knows he's got you. But if you look away or shut it down, he'll probably snap right back to his safe voice and act like nothing happened. So how do you spot it? Pay attention to the contrast. Compare how he talks to you versus how he talks to everyone else. If his voice only drops when he's focused on you, that's not coincidence, that's chemistry. If he's suddenly speaking softer, like he's drawing you into your own private bubble, that's desire making itself heard. And just like with eye contact and touch, you have the power to play this game right back. If you want to drive him crazy, mirror it. Drop your voice just a little, slow your words, let silence hang for a second too long. That tension will skyrocket and he'll feel it in his chest. But here's the warning: don't confuse a naturally deep voice with the voice drop. Some guys just sound like James Earl Jones all the time. The real sign is when his tone changes for you, when it shifts, when it softens, when it turns into something that feels almost intimate. So remember, when his voice drops lower and slower, he's not just talking, he's seducing. And the question becomes, are you going to let yourself be pulled into that sound? Now, ladies, let's talk about one of the most obvious, but also one of the most powerful signs of male attraction, the lean in. Here's the truth. Men don't lean in toward people they're not interested in. They just don't. If a man is keeping his distance, arms folded, body angled away, that's him saying, I'm comfortable here, no need to get closer. But when he's attracted, his body has a mind of its own. He starts closing the space little by little without even realizing it. Picture this: you're sitting at a bar telling a story, everyone else is sitting back laughing casually, sipping their drinks. But he's leaning in. He wants to hear you better. He wants to smell your perfume. He wants to feel your energy. That lean isn't about the words, it's about proximity. It's about creating intimacy. And here's what makes it so powerful: leaning in is risky, it's vulnerable. When a guy invades your personal bubble, he's basically putting himself out there. He's showing you, I want to be closer to you and I'm willing to take the chance. Now, there are two types of leaning in to watch for. One, the subtle lean. This is when you're sitting across the table and instead of sitting back in his chair, he's forward, elbows resting, shoulders tilted in your direction. He's closing the gap inch by inch. He might not even realize he's doing it, but his body is magnetized toward you too. The bold lean, this is when he takes it further. Maybe you're standing together, and while everyone else gives you normal space, he's just a little closer. His shoulder brushes yours. His face hovers near yours when you laugh. He doesn't need to be that close, but he wants to be. And you know what? You feel it, that buzz, that tension, that almost electric charge in the air. Because let's be honest, when a man is inches from your lips while you're talking, you're not thinking about the conversation anymore. You're thinking, is he about to kiss me? Here's the giveaway: does he lean in only to you? Because if he's close to everyone, maybe he's just a naturally physical person. But if he saves that closeness for you, the quiet words in your ear, the way his body angles towards you in a crowded room, the way he finds excuses to be near, then it's desire, plain and simple. And here's something fun to notice. How does he react when you pull back? If you shift away slightly and he immediately leans in again, that's your confirmation. He's chasing your energy. His body is drawn to yours like gravity. Now, let's talk about your power. When you notice the lean in, you have two options. If you're into him, reward it. Lean in too. Match his proximity. Lower your voice so he has to be close to hear you. This drives men wild because it's not just physical, it's psychological. It tells him, yes, I feel this too. If you're not into him, simple, hold your ground, keep your space, because when you don't lean back, you send a clear signal this isn't mutual. And trust me, he'll feel the wall immediately. The lean in is primal. It's not about words, it's about creating intimacy through space, or the lack of it. A man who leans into you is saying with his body, I want to break down every barrier between us. And the real question is, are you going to let him? Let's talk about the fifth and final sign. And honestly, this might be the most important of them all, the energy shift. See, the first four signs, the eye lock, the touch, the voice drop, the lean in, those are things you can see and measure. But this one you feel, because attraction isn't just about actions, it's about energy. And when a man wants you, you can sense it in the air. Let me explain. You're talking to him, maybe about something casual, the weekend, work, whatever, and then suddenly the vibe changes. His laughter lingers just a little longer. His compliments carry a hidden edge, a double meaning. The way he looks at you feels heavier, slower loaded. It's almost like the room goes quiet, even if you're surrounded by people. That's the energy shift. It's not obvious, it's not loud, it's subtle but undeniable. It's the way his body language relaxes while his focus sharpens. It's the way he seems to tune out everything else, like the only thing in the world right now is you. And here's what makes it so magnetic, you don't have to guess. You feel it. It's in the way your body reacts. The butterflies, the quickened heartbeat, the little smile you can't stop. That's not in your head. That's chemistry responding to chemistry. Think of it like this attraction creates a bubble. Suddenly, you're inside it with him. The jokes are funnier. The silences are more intense. Even a simple, "How are you?" feels different when he says it. That's because behind every word, every gesture, is that unspoken thought, "I want you." Now, here's the thing. Some women ignore this shift because they doubt themselves. They think, oh, maybe I'm just imagining it. No. Trust your instincts. Attraction has a weight to it. When the vibe between you changes, it's because he's letting his guard down and letting that sexual energy slip through. And here's how you know it's real. Does he only have this vibe with you? Because men can be charming with everyone, but this shift is different. It's deeper. It's not about being funny or friendly. It's about intimacy. If he's giving you that lingering energy that no one else gets, that's not just being nice. That's him quietly saying, you're the one I want to take home tonight. Another way you'll notice it is how he frames the conversation. Suddenly, his compliments become more personal. Instead of, that's a nice dress, it's, you look incredible in that dress. Instead of, you're funny, it's, God, I love how you make me laugh. The shift isn't in the words, it's in the intensity behind them. And here's the fun part, you control what happens next. When you recognize that energy shift, you can either feed it or starve it. If you lean in, if you mirror the vibe, if you let your voice slow down and your smile linger, the tension skyrockets. The bubble between you thickens until it feels almost electric. But if you pull back, if you stay light and breezy, the energy fizzles out. So remember, attraction isn't always about what he does. It's about what you feel. When the air between you suddenly feels charged, when every glance and every word seems to carry more weight than it should, that's the shift. That's the signal. That's him silently screaming, I want you. And once you learn to recognize it, trust me, you'll never mistake it again. So ladies, let's pull this all together. When a man wants you, really wants you, he can't hide it. His eyes lock a little too long. His hands betray him with subconscious touches. His voice drops into that deeper, slower rhythm. His body leans in, chasing your space. And above all, the energy between you shifts into something undeniable. These aren't random quirks. They're not coincidences. They're signals, raw, instinctive, unfiltered. And once you know how to read them, you'll never waste another second wondering, does he like me? Because you'll know, you'll feel it, you'll own it. But here's the most important part. When you see these signs, the real question isn't, does he want me? Because he clearly does. The real question is, do I want him? That's where your power lies. You get to decide whether you fan the flames or let them burn out. You get to choose whether his desire becomes something more or whether it stays just a fantasy. And that, ladies, is the sexy part. You're not just reading his signals, you're controlling the game. So the next time you catch his eyes lingering or feel that buzz in the air, smile to yourself because you already know what it means. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 signs have you noticed before? And did you recognize what they meant in the moment? Drop your story in the comments because I guarantee you, you're not the only one who's felt that energy shift. And if you found this breakdown powerful, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with a friend who needs to decode the men in her life.